Good morning and welcome to Morning Movie News, where I'm very excited today to kick things off with one heck of a giveaway from our friends at Dolby Atmos. That's right, I'm talking about two of Luc Besson's most famous films, Leon the Professional and The Fifth Element, which have both just been re-released on Blu-ray remastered. Not only with 4K visuals, but they have a totally new sound design courtesy of, you guessed it, our friends at Dolby Atmos. Now, it gets even better. You don't have just a chance to win one of these two movies. Dolby Atmos has given me 3 sets of both films to give away to you. So here's how to enter. And you're going to have until the end of the day Friday to enter, and I will announce the winners on Monday's episode of Morning Movie News. So you have to go to Twitter, and you have to tweet me at Grace Randolph, and you have to include the hashtag Dolby Atmos. And then you have to include the hashtag of either movie, The Professional or The Fifth Element. And then tell me why you think Luc Besson is a good director. All right? And if you want to really go for extra credit, you can try and include the hashtag of both movies and see if you have any characters left over to describe why you think Luc Besson is such a good director. But again, I'll take either or movie so you have the most characters possible to work with. So once again, you have until the end of the day Friday to tweet me at Grace Randolph why you think Luc Besson is a great director, and you have to include the hashtags Dolby Atmos and one of the two films. The Professional, you don't have to say Leon, so The Professional or The Fifth Element. Good luck, and again, you will be winning both movies, totally remastered, not only visually, but also in terms of their audio design. Again, from Dolby Atmos. And Dolby Atmos is working very hard, as you can see, to raise their profile with people like you. They want to go directly to the consumer, so they would like me to ask you to go to their website. So if you have some time, it's right with where the chapter times are in the video description. Just check it out, see what they're doing. Again, they are working very hard to be more consumer friendly, to develop that direct relationship themselves. So there's some cool stuff to learn about on the website, particularly if you're interested in being a filmmaker. Sound design obviously is a very important part of the process, so you might as well start getting acclimated to that kind of business right now. All right, so anyway, that's going to take place of the viewer question today, and let's get on to the stories of the day. And I'm catching up from some of the stories that I missed yesterday. Actually, nothing really huge happened yesterday, although some of you might disagree with me, but these are all stories that I would have covered yesterday. So the first one is the news that Nicole Kidman is circling the Wonder Woman movie, and I have mixed feelings about this. Now, the word is that she would be playing an Amazonian, so I was a little confused as to why some of the headlines are like, has Wonder Woman found its villain? And I'm like, not if she's an Amazonian. I mean, most likely if that's the case, she's playing Hippolyta, which is Wonder Woman's mother. And that's like really on the nose casting, kind of like ho-hum boring casting. I think they could do a little bit better. I mean, I don't know. I think in her heyday, Nicole Kidman would be a wonderful Hippolyta. But, let's not kid ourselves. Nicole Kidman is very far from her heyday. So I just want you to step back and picture how this movie's coming together. It stars Gal Gadot, who's never starred in a movie before, and it definitely co-stars Chris Pine and now Nicole Kidman. Does that sound like a box office winner to you? It sounds like a real clunker to me. Now, as a fan of everyone involved, I think it could still be a good movie, but I think you need to put on your producer hat and say, is that the movie poster that I really want to put out to the public, right? Are those the 3 floating heads that I want on my poster? Gal Gadot, Nicole Kidman, and Chris Pine. I mean, it sounds like the Wonder Woman movie is not going to have a chance, or at least have some severe box office obstacles put in its path with that casting. So I think that they're really handicapping Wonder Woman, and it'll be one of her feats of heroicism if she can overcome that cast. So I'm curious, what do you think? Do you think Nicole Kidman is a good addition to this movie? And what do you think of how it sounds when you throw Chris Pine into the mix when you see how the whole cast is shaping up? I like Gal Gadot. I've said many times I really liked the performance that she did in the Fast and Furious movies, even though it was severely truncated. She didn't have a lot to do, but I thought she did a good job with what she was given. And she looks very good in the trailer so far. But I think she's not going to have a chance even at all if these are her co-stars. I mean, let's just be honest. And again, love Chris Pine, love Nicole Kidman. I wish she was playing the villain. I think Nicole Kidman really shines when she plays the villain in pieces. She's very good at it. It's one of the things to die for that made her famous in the first place. Well, actually, marrying Tom Cruise made her famous in the first place, but I think playing the villain is something that gave her a little bit more artistic credibility in that old Gus Van Sant movie with Joaquin Phoenix, I believe. So I would love to see her return to her villainous roots. She was great in Paddington as the villain, but I think that this is something we talk about all the time on the show, and a lot of you will get offended when I call one of your favorite actors box office poison. Or not even box office poison, let's say a box office dissuader, right? I just think that you need to be honest about whether or not the majority of moviegoers want to see your favorite actor. I mean, it's a difficult situation, but sometimes you just have to admit to yourself, I like this person, but no one else does. And that can be changed sometimes with the right role, but do we really want to risk the fact that, maybe Wonder Woman won't be the movie that makes people suddenly like Chris Pine and suddenly like Nicole Kidman again? So we'll see. All right, so that's I think actually every story today kind of does have a theme. And the theme is, I don't know if it's going to work out, okay? So let's go on to the second story with that in mind, and that's this Hunger Games theme park, which has now been made official, right? They've been talking about doing a theme park for quite some time. We've been talking about them doing it for quite some time, and now they've done it. So they're going to open up Hunger Games lands, and this is usually the case with movie theme parks, right? They're like, in some place you'll probably never go. One is Dubai and one is China. So I always get annoyed when they make those announcements because I'm like, how hard and expensive it would be for me to go to these places? Why don't you build them in America? Or, at least, I'm having trouble even getting to the UK to go to take the Harry Potter studio tour. So anyway, and the Harry Potter stuff is amazing. So if let's really raise the bar for movie theme park, lands, and Avatar has to compete with that as well. And also the King Kong attraction they're building, and Jurassic Park, the Jurassic Park of Universal Studios, also has to step up their game after what Harry Potter has accomplished. But anyway, they are building a Hunger Games theme park in the United States. But get this, it's not in Orlando, it's not in Los Angeles, it's outside of Atlanta, which is interesting because they filmed a lot of the Hunger Games movies around Atlanta. So there's some level of authenticity there, I guess. But it's interesting because I'm really curious as to whether or not anyone is going to travel to Atlanta to go. No offense to the people of Atlanta. Atlanta is a great city. They had the Olympics there, obviously. Also, CNN is based out of Atlanta, and so is Coca-Cola. And you can go to the Coca-Cola offices, and I don't know if they have a factory tour. They have some kind of tour. And again, as I said, CNN is there. I don't know how much of a tourist destination that is there, but there's a lot of companies there. Also, Tyler Perry's entire film industry is there. And because they're so friendly to the film industry, a lot of film and television is shot in Atlanta. But will people travel there for a theme park vacation? One of the reasons that people go to Orlando is that you can get more bang for your buck because you can go to all the theme parks, right? You're like, oh, okay, I'll stay at an off-site hotel or I'll stay at one of the theme parks and then I'll just leave that property and I'll do a day at Disney, I'll do a day at Universal, I'll do SeaWorld, I'll do Busch Gardens. And Busch Gardens and SeaWorld, I think, are going to have to become more competitive because they have to, I think people are spending more and more days at Universal. That used to really be like a one theme park place, but now I think it's definitely a 2-day theme park visit. And then, of course, you want to do all the 4 Disney parks, or just 3 of the 4. I usually skip Animal Kingdom, but I was surprised to find out that has more visitors than Hollywood Studios, which I think is why you're seeing them step up Hollywood Studios with a Star Wars land and a Toy Story land. So that's coming to Orlando. So I'm surprised that the Hunger Games doesn't want to try and get in on that action, right? But no, they're going to ask you to take an entirely, not just a Hunger Games vacation, but a Lionsgate vacation, because this theme park will not only have a Hunger Games section, but it will also have a Now You See Me magic section and a Step Up section. So I'm like, this seems like not a great theme park, and I'm a big theme park fan, so I think that I have some idea of what people want to see. Also, Frozen stuff is opening in Orlando this very summer. So I'm surprised again they didn't want to get in on that. Now this is also not set to open until 2019, so that's a long time. That's 4 years after the final Hunger Games movie. So that means obviously they're planning spin-offs, and I hope those spin-offs do well, because I think right now where we are even today with the Hunger Games franchise, I don't know if it can sustain a theme park. The Harry Potter movies did, I think, overall much bigger business, and I think that they were just something that I think was a little bit more inclusive in terms of a fandom. I feel like the Hunger Games fandom is there, but it's just not as intense or as immersive as the Harry Potter fandom was, or is still today. And so I think, and also especially when you're looking at the box office numbers decreasing, right? I mean, we just recently discussed the Hunger Games box office is projected for this final installment to be the lowest of the franchise. So I think that it becomes even more crucial what they do next with the films to make sure that they can feed this theme park. So I'm curious. Let's just ask the obvious question. Will you travel to Atlanta specifically to go to this Lionsgate theme park, which will feature a Hunger Games section? Because again, this is a solo trip. It's not like, oh, I'm already in Orlando. Why not swing by the Hunger Games park because I'm a fan? This is an entire vacation. So I'm curious, is this something that you want, that you would think you can see yourself doing 4 years from now? All right, so that's the second story of the day. Now, the third story of the day is a little bit of a worrying story about X-Men Apocalypse and just the X-Men franchise in general. Although, to soften the blow, I have a good story about X-Men Apocalypse as well that I'm going to fold in here. So anyway, the big headline is that they're doing reshoots right now, and we still don't have a trailer. Maybe that's why. Maybe they're like, we don't even have good shots for the trailer. Back to shooting. So anyway, the rumor is that they're doing more shoots, and also that they're bringing back Hugh Jackman to put more of him in the film, which I think is a smart move. I'm surprised that Hugh Jackman wasn't considered a major part of this film to begin with. And I think you can see in the discrepancy of the box office between X-Men First Class and X-Men Days of Future Past that he is a major factor in the success of these movies. You can't bring anybody to see a movie that is not an X-Men movie, but when it comes to X-Men, he still delivers. So I think I'm glad they're making that change, and I think that they're lucky they have the chance to correct what I think was a bad decision in the first place. But I think this also doesn't speak well for Jennifer Lawrence. I think that Jennifer Lawrence, I support her on her salary situation, but I think that she might have put herself in a difficult position, and I sense a really big Jennifer Lawrence backlash coming in the summer when X-Men Apocalypse hits screens and she spends so much time in her Raven form, not in the blue makeup. I just think that's really going to upset fans. It's upsetting us already in the stills for the movie, and Mystique is such a fan favorite. For the character to not be such a big part of this movie as we like to see her, I think that combined with the salary situation, I'm surprised at how many people are unsympathetic to the salary situation. I think that speaks a little bit to people, to the problems that feminism has just in general. The people always branded as complaining, but I think that Jennifer Lawrence has found herself in a very difficult situation where she's already upset some people with the salary discussion, and I think that she might hit a breaking point with the role of Mystique, what she does to that in X-Men Apocalypse. So we'll see. Maybe if there's a lot of Wolverine to distract us, it won't be so bad. So I said there was something good, right? So the good thing is that Evan Peters has been talking about Quicksilver, and he said that he is on a journey to discover his father. And I think that was one of the best Easter eggs in X-Men Days of Future Past when he referenced his father. I think a lot of us are very excited. I thought the scene between Evan Peters and Magneto was awesome just on its own, even without them knowing that they're related. And I think that could be really great. And they have two great power sets, so who doesn't want to see that team up, right? And of course, we know that Magneto is having a difficult time in X-Men Apocalypse, and that's why he decides to follow Apocalypse, because he feels so lost. Although I don't really see Magneto following anyone. He is a leader, not a follower. Even if he's going in the wrong direction, he's like, even if no one's following me, I'm not following anyone else. But we'll see if they make it work. But I like that aspect of the story quite a bit. So I'm curious, do you like that? Do you like bringing in the Quicksilver father element? Which, although I have to say, since he's no longer his father in the comics, it takes some real guts for the Fox team, the Fox Marvel team, to say, in our canon, he still is his father. We don't care what you write in the comics. And also, I don't know how many people are reading the comics anymore right now. So maybe, and I don't like that they retconned that. I like that Wanda and Pietro are Magneto's kids. It's a big part of their story. It's a big part of Magneto's story. And I think it's not a good idea to get rid of it for business reasons. And I'm a big supporter of business reasons, right? So that's how bad an idea it is. But also I want to ask you, what do you think of adding more Wolverine? Are you like, yeah, thank goodness? Or are you like, come on, man. I mean, Wolverine only has one more, Hugh Jackman only has one more Wolverine movie, and then he said he's out. Although after Pan, maybe he's not out. But we'll see what happens there. But they really need to be working harder to build a replacement for him, because who's going to hold up the box office when he leaves, right? It's supposed to be Channing Tatum's Gambit, but that's having plenty of its own problems. All right, so that's today's morning movie news. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please write down below what you think of today's top 3 stories, and don't forget to enter that competition if you're interested in winning that the set of those 2 films. Tweet me and include those hashtags, and then let me know what you'd like to see covered tomorrow and any questions that you might have for me that you'd like to see answered. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.